Hello, this is Avery. It is December 6th, 2019. I'm going to do a trade journal for Wednesday until Friday. So I guess that's the 4th until the 6th. So to start off is DLPN. I had a nice Wednesday morning, started off great, and then there were some problems that came up, which I'll explain in a bit. So DLPN shorted this pop to 125. I covered 2/3 at 111. And then I was looking for the break of the 102 level, and I added my 2/3 back at 101, and then that brought me to about a 109 average, or it was exactly a 109 average. And then I covered when it perked back up at 106. It ended up going much slower, but by the time I kind of confirmed that it was breaking down, it was already beneath $1, and then I can't short any stocks beneath $1 at trade zero, so that kind of sucks. But whatever, this part was profitable. On this first trade was the best, and then the second trade was okay, and then thankfully, since my average was 109, I still got a small profit on that one. Second one is EDNT. This one was nice. I was really wanting to short this perk up here, but unfortunately there was no shares available at trade zero, and then they became available and they were super expensive, like 12 or 11 cents a share, and I finally scooped them up for like 3.5 cents a share. And I had an order at 249. Missed about like a penny or two. And then when we had this wash, I would try to get filled. I tried to just slam the bids around, I think it was 229. Missed it though, which is fine. And then shorted the bounce at 209. Immediately piked half of it, and then held the rest for lower. Originally, my cover order was 176, but what happened was it went to 177, and then what I realized, I was like, oh, like, I'm right, though, like, I'm going to get my cover, and then it was at 181, and I was like, geez, like, man, you're literally trying to get greedy over 4 cents when I could easily just, like, not easily, but I just kind of caught myself thinking, like, greedy, so I just immediately got out, which was still a great gain. I think it averaged out to a 20-something cent a share gain with both pieces. Next one, this is kind of where the problems rise. Unfortunately, I took screenshots of my charts, except for some reason I can't find them. And trust me, I'm not lying about my entries because they're straight up fucking embarrassing. But so on PTGX, I was kind of looking for a breakdown play here. And then when we got this, I guess the kind of just precursor, there was a $9 level on the daily chart, and then I was looking to short it right here. When we had this big perk up, that's when I started watching it. And then unfortunately, it's completely my fault that I didn't take the trade, except my mom and niece came into the room and were kind of being pushy and didn't really understand what I was trying to say about how I'm trying to trade. And then, so I was like, okay, better double check. All my orders are great, like good before I submit them. And then of course that's like the one. Then like when I'm double checking, like boom, it just slams down, and then I'm not going to chase, obviously. And then then I kind of started looking for like a support break play instead of like a first resistance. And I saw this 825 level. And then when we had this nice wash, these couple minute wash candles here, I shorted at 820. And then I added, and then unfortunately with this one it was weird. I had quite a bit of slippage, which kind of really annoyed me. And I had like a stop order in like 838, but for some reason I didn't get filled until 847. And it was weird because I didn't have it's not like I'm trading with a 10,000 share position, so there's only a couple hundred shares. But unfortunately this trade, since it was like a 27 or 28 cent loss, it actually took out pretty much all my profits from the morning, which really kind of fucked me up in the head because I was having a couple break-even days and I was kind of having a hard time getting the groove. And then in the morning on EDNT and DLPN, I kind of just felt like I was really in the zone. And then this just threw me right off of it. And then I'll go into some more trades here. So then, unfortunately, my confidence just got destroyed. I don't know why. I think it was just because I got stopped out, and then I was just really scared to get back in, and just because I didn't want to go from being up quite a bit on the day to being down. So I was like, okay, just not going to do it. So I credited my shares, and of course we got this beautiful wash here. So coming into the next day, I'll go over, this one is, unfortunately, this is where my lack of confidence really showed. So on SEAC, I had a great plan here. It was gapping up from the previous day, and it was low volume, except I kind of liked the fact that it was low volume in a way, because there wasn't a ton of people watching it, so, and the locate was pretty cheap, so my thesis kind of was like, okay, there's not going to be a ton of people shorting it, so there's like a less chance of it ever squeezing. So I was looking at this 450 level here, and unfortunately, just like my lack of confidence, for some reason, I just didn't put out a fantasy order, and then I tried, when I saw it perk up, then I tried, but I was too slow. And then when it had this big red candle slam down here, I got a really nice entry actually at 428, right on this perk. And then my risk was 436, because I didn't want to risk all the way up at high of day, and I just kind of felt like if it would go to above 436, then my trade thesis would kind of be over. And then unfortunately, I'll just draw some circles here. And it's not really, I don't really know what it was. I just like literally just like talked myself out of the trade, because like I don't really care about the money necessarily. I just, for some reason, I was like, oh, well, like with yesterday's screw up, like you're probably wrong. So I literally covered right into this, or like right into this second candle here after it set that higher low for like 2 minutes. I just covered right there for like a 4-cent gain, and then of course it washes. And my original cover was at 405, which the reasoning behind that was the pre-market lows were like 410, but what I was kind of, or like down here, sorry, about 403. So I was just kind of thinking a couple cents higher than the pre-market lows, then it would have got filled right here. So the problem with this is like my confidence was like slightly screwed up from the day before, then this just like, I don't know, even though I had a great trade plan on it, me not executing my plan properly just like destroyed my confidence. I don't know why. And then on BNGO, this one I actually got a good lesson from this one. I was looking at. So basically, in the morning, I think I had like one break-even trade. I shorted it right here. After this 2 candle stuff move at 124, I like shorted it at like 120 and then immediately covered at like 122. Following my pre-market trading rules of just cutting if it goes against me. And then so after this wash at the open and perk and then stuff, I shorted and I got a 122 average. So I was basing my plan off of kind of it like stuffing up here. And one thing that then I set my stop. Unfortunately, I got a top tick to cover, and it was 130, because I was afraid that, like, again, this is just me overthinking shit way too much, because I saw this, like, 128 level here, 129 level here, and I was kind of just worried that if it break high of day, it would break that, and then just domino effect like Austin talks about, and just break the pre-market highs. So I was trying to, anyway, so, and then that just showed, like, my lack of confidence in my trade thesis. But one thing that I realized here is, like, when I short 122, I have an edge, because not a ton of people can get an average there. But then as soon as it grinds back and then holds this 122 area for like 5 or 10 minutes, then everyone has that edge, right? So there's no edge anymore. So coming into, like, from now on these stuff move plays, I'm not going to, like, if this happens, I'm just cutting a break even. Like, if it's at the higher low and starts grinding up, done. And I'll just look to reattack at the next resistance level. That's BNGO. And then today, unfortunately, I can actually just go on 0 Pro here now. So again, like, unfortunately my confidence just was still destroyed this morning, and it kind of felt good about like reflecting on my trades yesterday. So then here, we go to a 1 minute. A standard trade of mine is shorting a break of the pre-market lows. For pre-market strategy of tracking, it has a pretty good win rate. But even a precursor to that, there was some action happening before 7 a.m. here, and again, my plan was to short. VWAP was at 280. If you look at another trading platform that actually has before 7 a.m. action. So my plan was to short at 280, but of course, like, I just pussied out of submitting the fantasy order, which it makes no sense. And then I was kind of frustrated about that. And then here, I shorted, like, the low here was only like 244. So then I just saw that break and I just got in at 245, and then I just took it off immediately once it didn't work. And then for some reason, like then the exact same trade thesis, which works, has a pretty high percentage win rate, especially if you just take your losses off like this. Like this was a 5-cent loss, but I just didn't. And then I drew out this line because it supported there twice and it broke, so like 245, 244. And then here, there was a big bidder right here, and this is again just showing of my lack of confidence in myself the past couple of days, is I was like, for some reason I just thought like, oh well, like it was kind of like propping it a little bit, and I kept on bringing it up by like a penny at a time. And then I was like, oh well, it's probably going to push to 250s, so I'll just wait. And then of course my original plan was to short if it got back to 244, and the high there was 245, and then it just slams. So really disappointed about myself from that. And then coming into the morning, I had a fantasy order. I have a couple, but my first one was at 225, and unfortunately I got to that price, but I didn't get filled. And then when it caught down here, I canceled that 225 order in, and just left my other ones in there, so like at a 230. And unfortunately I didn't get filled on my 230, which is really irritating. And then this is SSR, so I tried to get in at 225 and 220 just to get a quick scalp, but I wasn't getting filled obviously because no one was hitting the offer, so that was hard unless you already had the order in there. So then I scaled into the bounce, and then I cut it off right here at 225, which is fine. And then I'll just show my, had a 217 average, stopped out at 225, which is fine. And then right here, when I saw this wick, I immediately got back in at 238, which was nice. My risk was 246. I put one cover order out, and I got filled here at 225. And then I had my second cover order in at I think 212 or 213, sorry. But then when it was holding around here, and this is where VWAP was too, so then I just took it off, and it ended up being good that I did take it off. But unfortunately, I was just so burnt out at this point that I just like said, okay, I don't want to, and I was about break even on the day because of this loss, slightly up. And I just said, okay, I'm done. I just need to clear my head. And then, of course, this is where my original plan, I even told someone in the chat room, I was like, yeah, if it gets to 250s, I'm going to load the boat. And then I just stepped away, and then, of course, that happens, but it's okay. So, like, a couple lessons is, like, I really need to just stay confident in my trade plan, because when I actually follow my plan, I make money. And then when I don't, and bitch out of trades like over here, that's when I get frustrated, and then that's when I'm not able to actually stay patient with my plan. So coming into next week, I'm just going to really focus on my process and just do the best that I can and actually have confidence in myself, because I've proven to myself through my statistics that I can be a profitable trader, but I'm not being a profitable trader when I have no confidence and I can't actually take the trades that I've tracked like for quite a while. Right? So that's going to be what I'm working on next week. Thanks.